Today I want to ask you all a question of whether or not we should be able to be a mutant, ghoul or other in Fallout 5. I asked this question as a community poll a few weeks back, and a lot of you participated, and it seems that the majority of people want to see the option added to the next game. Though, to my surprise, there were a lot of you that don't want the option. So I decided to make it into a video and throw it out there to the wider audience and just have a chat about it. Once Bethesda took over the Fallout franchise, they made it very clear that they want the main character to be a vault dweller, meaning the player has always started out in a vault and is forced to leave for whatever reason, and this pattern can be seen from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 and all the way to Fallout 76, so it's safe to assume that Fallout 5 will follow the same pattern. So I can see the argument that Bethesda wants the player to be a pure human, as the vaults don't typically house ghouls or super mutants, and that would be true for the most part, so I understand if that's the main reason. However, there is a fairly easy solution to this. Throughout the Fallout lore, numerous vaults have been home to rather sick experiments. Vault 12 being the Necropolis Vault from Fallout 1 that was designed to stay open after the bombs fell and contributed to the large population of ghouls in the region. On top of that, we have Vault 87 that was being used as a testing site for the FEV and was the leading cause of the DC super mutant infestation. So just because the main character is from a vault doesn't necessarily mean that they can't also be a mutant. A simple workaround for this would be to start the player out in a vault that has a current FEV or radiation experiment going on. The player would then start the game much like they do in Skyrim, unaware and unknowing of where they are heading, as they are brought deeper into the subsections of the vault to be experimented on. It is here that they are given their name, and then once the experiment starts, they can choose stats and the player traits, as well as if they want to be a mutant or not. After that, the test could fail, and the player is dumped topside with the rest of the failed experiments and is now forced to start a new life in the wasteland. It can be run the exact same for both ghouls, super mutants, and humans, or really any other mutant variant that Bethesda chooses to throw in the mix. Simple, clean, easy to pull off, and all while still maintaining the Vault Dweller start. Now this would be the ideal option for players, giving each individual the choice to be a mutant or not, and not forcing one way or the other. What exactly is the point of being able to be a mutant in Fallout 5? Well, the Wasteland is a heavily irradiated place, so if the player chooses to play as a ghoul or super mutant, they could receive buffs towards radiation damage. Some ghouls heal in radiation, giving them a fairly sizable up on human starter characters. Not to mention, super mutants would have a large strength increase compared to their average human. And as Fallout 4 has proven, super mutants can be reversed back into humans and can even maintain their intelligence after being turned into super mutants. That's all great, and if the option is there in Fallout 5, I would love to play as a mutant just for those buffs alone. But there is some bad that comes along with being a mutant. Social dilemmas being the largest. Most settlements think that super mutants are monsters and won't allow them near, choosing to shoot first and ask questions later. Ghouls are almost the exact same. As we see in Fallout 4, larger settlements downright reject ghouls, and even some smaller ones do as well. Meaning for both options, settlement trading and interactions is basically out the window. They would have to rely on scavenging more often than not. Depending on where the game takes place, the results might obviously vary, but overall I think that most people in the Wasteland don't think too kindly of mutants as a whole. Not to mention that super mutants can't use anything smaller than a rifle as shown throughout the history of Fallout, meaning pistols and smaller weapons are out, and meaning that power armor is also off the table as they just don't fit unless they somehow manage to get some of that power armor Frank Horgan had in Fallout 1. There would also be a huge difference in exactly how chems affect the player, from stimpaks to psycho. If the ghoul chem maker in Fallout 3 is to be believed, then normal chems don't work all that well on ghouls, and I'm sure the same rings true for super mutants. So some sacrifices and changes would have to be made, but overall nothing huge needs to be changed. Things ghouls can do, humans can also do, and things super mutants can do, ghouls can do, so they all kind of relate back to each other from the base stats of a human player. So if the option to be a mutant was given to the player, then some things would have to be added and taken away to keep the game balanced. Though I think the things that we are losing is fairly minimal when it comes to the grand scheme of things. Though if all of that is too much, then they can take the Fallout 76 route and add mutations in for the players that take in too much radiation. It's well tested and well implemented part of 76, and I for one think it fits the game perfectly. They could even add a ghoul effect to players that are heavily irradiated for too long, making it sort of like vampirism from Skyrim, although unlike being a vampire, being a ghoul is a lot more permanent. So, what do you guys think? Should we be given the option to become a ghoul or super mutant, or heck, should we even be given the option to become a ghoul based on how much radiation we take in on the wasteland? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and as always, I'll see you in the wasteland.